Welcome back to Mcoc, AlBundyRules. I have the new event quest for February 2021 here. Going to have all 3 chapter walkthroughs. This is going to be chapter 1, which is going to include 1.1 and 1.2 item free walkthroughs. We're going to see here science attackers are going to benefit. There's some new nodes on these Cavalier difficulties. Looking through them, we see about the weaknesses, the contagion, seeing what we have here. So based on that, that'll lead to how I was picking my team with primarily science, and I'll usually bring 1 or 2 for the boss as well. And as we're scrolling around, we see the boss here is Deadpool, so I'm going to bring a few for the path, maybe 1 or 2 for the boss. And we're blood in the water, supercharge, biohazard's going to be a big one there, and nanoplague. So biohazard's the main one I'm going to be on the lookout for. But with that being said, science for the pass have a major benefit there, so I'm going to be looking at some of the science champs that I feel would be a good fit for these nodes we were just looking at. We'll see I'm currently running suicides, and I'm going to start off this fight with the Red Guardian as I decided to go right on up the first path right there, and we see that there's poisons, but the poisons can be removed by the science champs. So a little bit of logic for why I picked this team, but for the most part a lot of science should work fairly well on this path, I believe. I'm going to try to use a little mix of them, see how everything goes. But right here in this first fight against the Silver Surfer, I am trying to get him to bait that special, and he is being stubborn, isn't he? I also like to try to have a little distance when that S2 goes, because basically that S2 kind of long-winded, so got a little sloppy there, took a couple hits, but not the end of the world. I don't go for perfection, I go for completion, nice and smooth with no items used. As long as I accomplish that, I'm a happy camper. So we'll see Red Guardian is seeming to work pretty well here. He isn't someone I've used in a whole lot of my videos, so I thought I'd give him a little bit of shine time in this video. Trying to mix up the champs a little bit that I've been using past year event quests with the same nodes for the class advantages and everything have been kind of predictable on the champs. So now with the new nodes, want to kind of change it up a little bit, see if I can bring some other champs in, have some fun, see what works. Got very complacent with the last several months Cavalier nodes on the event quest because they were getting very similar and repetitive, so I'm looking forward to learning the new ones. But the big thing here is we're looking on the poisons and poisons being removed, which is allowing me to get those theories up, meaning the more of those theories I get, the more damage I am going to start doing along the way. Get some nice S2 action going on right there, trying to finish up this fight. The Silver Surfer gave me a little bit of troubles to start off, but nothing too over the top. Bottom line, he's down. I still got a 3/4 health champ. I can live with that. Not perfection, but good enough. Good enough. Now we're going to go up to Doom. So looking at the Doom, I'm kind of deciding who I want to go with, and Mystic, Doom, Human Torch becomes a pretty easy thought process for me. We see that the poison and the poison removes right there. Again, giving me some fury. Again, so you just want to have these science champs based on these nodes for this 1.1 in February 2021 event quest. Chapter 1, our Cavalier mode. So I'm just doing some basic, either medium, light, medium, or sometimes I'll do a medium, heavy. Oh, it's kind of sloppy there. But I'm also getting kind of complacent because based on how the nodes are working, I'm really not taking much damage. I seem to be healing pretty well, so I'm not tripping too bad. So a little mistake, I'm not going to freak out about it. It hasn't seemed to be that detrimental so far. But the reason why I use those medium light medium or heavy or medium heavy combos, sometimes people ask why I don't usually use 5-hit combos on Human Torch. It's about building up the incinerates. Those mediums or heavies will get the incinerates up quicker, so 5-hit combos can kind of waste time. Sometimes I'm building up incinerates, however, that's just a preference, not a mandate. Going to then be moving on up the path. Next we're going to see King Groot. So I'm sure probably could have found an easier starting path on the defenders. None of these three defenders are the most fun to be fighting with Silver Surfer, Doom, and King Groot, but none are horrible either. So the node seemed satisfactory enough that I should be able to get through it okay. We saw the poison removed there as soon as I parried, and I'm just kind of hidden to the block for now, creating a little space. So when I hit into the block, I got those poisons, but then it's removed when I go ahead and parry into that, getting me some theories. So with King Groot, I'll be somewhat careful, especially on like parry attacks, knowing he'll shark them off pretty quick. A lot of the times can get punished. So we're a little bit more intercepting here. It's going to depend on which champ I'm fighting, if I'm going to focus more on intercepting or if I'm going to be doing other different strategies. Take it based on the quirks on each defender, generally speaking, and the overall fight. I'll mix and match as I see fit. We got some stun going on like King Groot. King Groot can be a heck of a tank, though. He can take a little while to get down. I do try to focus on baiting those S1s. The S2s aren't too hard to bait, but it is easy to make a mistake occasionally and to get extra poison, although extra poison here probably wouldn't be too bad based on these nodes. However, force of habit, I'm just really accustomed to trying to focus on baiting those S1s because the S1's so easy to evade. And we see we're up to 6 Furies now, which means we're going to start doing some nice damage. I'm going to try to work up to that S2. I haven't been using S1 yet on the Red Guardian, mainly because the best part of the S1 is the slow. I haven't seen any need to do the slow yet on any of the fights I've had, but that S2 could do some nice damage, kind of smack him around a little bit. So we'll usually focus on that quite frequently. Again, depending on the fight when I'm using Red Guardian. We see those poisons coming on in. Once I dex there, the poisons were removed. Now I'm up to 12 Furies, which is nice. So King Groot, I'm doing some nice intercepting on him as I'm trying to avoid the parries. No one can get punished easier. King Groot just takes quite a while, though. Pretty easy defender overall, just kind of one of those ones that you just want to kind of pause halfway through, grab a pillow, take a nap, drink a cup of coffee, then finish up the fight. But we're not going to do that here. But yeah, King Groot is one of my least favorite champs to fight, just because he just seems to take forever unless you have a good matchup on hand. And I didn't bring tailor-fit matchups for each defender on the pass, so it took a little bit, but it is over and fairly smoothly-ish, give or take, so we're happy with that. Next up, we got the Human Torch going on. Got a couple good counters for on this fight. I would usually like to bring Incinerate Immune just to be safe on this fight. Again, we're looking at the buffs, making sure nothing was added when I switch pass, which can sometimes happen. So it's figured either Torch or Void would work perfectly fine for this most likely, but just I'll go and use some Void for a little bit. We see those poisons got removed off the get-go. So these nodes work pretty good on Science for 1.1. Makes it a little more suicide friendly, actually. So the fact I got Suicide Masteries on right now on this node is quite beneficial, because now all my debuffs are gone instead of that poison lingering, so that makes me happy. And of course some poisons will come back into the fight, but they will be removed. There we go, removed with those Furies re-added. I haven't found anything on this path that's too niche right now where you really need an exact counter. This fight would probably be the closest to where it is good to have an Incinerate Immune just to be safe, but that's not even necessarily mandatory technically. But since there's a couple good Science Incinerate Immune, then why not, huh? If you got them, use them. And we watch Human Torch take a dive face down. Another fight. That one was a little smoother fight than some of the other ones we've seen on the past so far, as I've been trying to adjust to these new nodes, figuring out what we got going on, kind of experiment first walkthroughs through, seeing what works, what doesn't work, and that's where I come in to help you all out. You all get to see what's going well for me and what doesn't work so well, and able to adjust from there. If what I do works well, do it. If it doesn't, well, then let's figure out a solution together. Or just don't mimic my mistakes. So here, Human Torch should be another good easy fight of being a mystic. There are certain fights I'll just automatically bring certain champs for if I have that option. If I see a Mystic, I'm pretty much always just going to lean towards Human Torch. He just cheeses through Mystic so easy. Another thing you'll see in my walkthroughs a lot, if I see a metal heavy path that I'm going to be taking, or maybe a metal boss, I'll pretty much automatically bring Magneto, just because I love Magneto for those fights. So there's certain champs that I just always want to use regardless what the buffs are, at least under most circumstances, or regardless what the nodes are. And path moving nice and smooth. Gonna go on up now. Got another fight before the boss. And so far I've been concentrating on just a couple of on really 3 of the champs thing. Even though he's a science, I really brought him as for the boss if needed, based on his bleed immune, and we saw the biohazard node on the boss. So my other 3 science I really brought to clear the path. Thing was more, I could use him on the path if I needed to, but I really brought him mainly for the boss if needed. I'll usually bring 1 or 2 people for the boss to primarily combat them, at least while I'm experimenting with the boss. And we see I was a little more careful on that unblockable special that time. Those Tigre specials are so dang long, can throw me off, and they just seem so like kind of jumpy all over the place. Got another nice easy fight there. Like I said, Human Torch just kind of eats through those mystics like cereal in the morning. So let's get to this boss right here. We see the Deadpool. And I really primarily brought Black Widow for this fight, as we're seeing the nodes, the blood, and the water. About the debuffs, I can get rid of the debuffs on her pretty easily. Supercharge, the power gain. I got power control with Claire, biohazard, so I can attack. I can switch her to bleed immune. And then I didn't want to bring a robot based on that nano plague item there, so I figured, reading through the nodes, I figured Claire seemed ideal for this fight. Let's find out if I was correct. I did bring Thing as a backup for this fight in case I was incorrect on my initial logic on Claire. But only one way to find out, right? And so did get a little forgetful there, hitting into the block, caused me some poison damage. Silly mistake. But the good thing about Claire is it's easy to recover from silly mistakes based on easy regeneration. And even though I lost some health at the beginning from silliness, I just gained a huge chunk of it back, as we see. So now, paying a little more attention to the nodes. Sometimes there's too many nodes going on. I get a little ahead of myself. But when I'm using champs like Black Widow, Claire, I don't sweat it too much because I know I can easily recover as long as my mistake isn't too over the top. And look at that. There we go. Already back up to 88% health. And just keep doing what I'm doing here. A lot of times I would switch it off bleed to either get some poison control, some better incinerate damage. However, I want to keep it on bleed for 2 reasons. Mainly because the biohazard is going to give me bleed damage, so I want that bleed immune here. Plus, I made some mistakes early in the fight that cost me a lot of health, so I was healing myself back up to 96%. So kind of a win-win here. And as I initially expected, reading the nodes, that Claire should be good for this fight. I think it's pretty clear that that was a correct thought, although it would have been nice if I had moved out of that heavy that just kind of double slapped me upside my head. But again, I just regained all that health back anyway, so I'm not tripping over a little boot to the head from Deadpool. And now it's just a matter of trying to finish up this fight. Got him down to 20%. I've been sustaining very well in the fight. I've been going up and down, but I can get a good chunks of health pretty much on demand with the S2. As we've been seeing, especially running suicides with the higher damage, I'm all the way back up to 100%. So as sloppy as I've been on this fight, been a pretty easy fight overall. And not even close, as it's going to be an easy solo, as we see. So that is the end of 1.1 for Chapter 1. February 2021 EQ. So now it's time to get into 1.2. Don't forget, I also am going to have Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 up of these event quests. I have them up every single month. I bring them up. I was a little behind this month than I normally am. Been a little backed up. But if these do help you, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you have notifications on. That way you can always have me help you get through these event quests, Cavalier mode, nice and easy, because I do these every single month. One for each chapter. So I'm going to want text. I see about the Fury thing on the heal block item with the armor breaks. Regeneration there, healing abilities cannot be reversed. So it's looking at that, so I clearly want to focus on text. Probably text that could do armor break or heal block are going to be beneficial. Again, looking at those items. So I'll bring a few texts, several texts actually for the path. And I'm also going to take a look at this boss here, Sentinel. And I'm looking through here, Unstoppable and all this, and I'm looking at this and honestly not even paying attention because all I really see at the boss is it's metal. So there goes my Magneto coming on in. As long as I got a metal boss, unless there's some crazy weird node there, if it's metal, I'm bringing Magneto. It's that simple for me. So let's use a little Guillotine 99. One of my newer R3s. I've actually done 3 R3s within the past couple weeks, 6 stars. This is one I did a few weeks ago. Still been playing around with her. Extremely fun. I'm curious to see how well she does in this new event quest setups. Kind of building up some combo shields right now. And then get into some business against this Howard the Duck. On Howard the Duck, I'll generally try to bait those S1s over the S2s, even though I was a little sloppy on the second hit of that S1. It's usually a pretty easy one to dex through, but all of us have a little bit of off timing once in a while. So we see I've been able to build up a bunch of Furies so far. I've already built up 8 Furies, which is very nice, as being able to get through this fight and take advantage of these nodes. Got Thunderquack going on, doing some massive damage. I didn't get a chance to stop it. Finally got the lost connection, but that did do a good amount of damage. So with Gi 99, if you like what you see here, this wasn't too much of a great show on what she can do. I do have a really good video of her when I R3'd her, showing the insane damage she can do. If you're curious about her, I recommend seeing that. That wasn't too much of a show. She's a ramp-up champ, and unfortunately I was so busy focusing on the nodes in the fight, I did not have the chance to build up an S3 to finish up the fight on the S3, which is kind of a big key to her. So, little mistake on my side, otherwise I'd have her better ramped up for the next fight, but not the end of the world. These things should be a fairly not too bad of a path, hopefully. So looking at Hulkbuster now, going against the Moon Knight. Starting off with the basic strategy of the parry heavies, but I'm kind of keeping an eye out on him. And the Unstoppable, something I completely overlooked on the nodes. Unstoppables are one of those things I just forget about, those timers. So I try to keep an eye up there on those timers for Unstoppable, and I just forget sometimes. Especially look at all these little circles and highlights. There's so many different colors and circles and all that. Too many to kind of keep an eye on sometimes. It can be a little too much for the eyes while you're trying to fight. So easy to make those little mistakes, but hopefully I learned from my lesson on that and will remember to keep an eye on that Unstoppable timer, because you can get punished nice, fast, and hard if you don't. So he's got the regeneration going on right there. But I'm not too worried about the regeneration. There's nodes that can help counter that, but the regeneration isn't that much. My champs I brought can easily counter through that fairly easily, and we just saw me doing 40,000 heavies as I cornered him against the wall right there. Do some nice damage. So if you play into the nodes that we have on these, awesome, makes it a little bit easier, but a lot of the good champs can counter right through it anyways. Going to go into this Quake fight now. Decided to go and bring Guardian. My R5, 5-star Guardian right here. It was a nice SIG 200. We're going to see that good damage going through. All those nice red numbers. One of the nice happy things on Guardian. So usually when I do Guardian, I try to get his force fields up before I launch an S2. Figure I'll go and start with an S1 to give me a few force fields up a little bit, see if I can get to the S2 in time. But it's also going to depend on how stubborn she is. Right now, she doesn't want to launch her S2, meaning I can't attack to build up power to get my S2. So some of those force fields might drop. She is being stubborn. I also try not to get too close because if she starts charging that heavy, you get those aftershocks. And she does not want to cooperate with me. Not cool, Quake, not cool. There we go, finally. And then I finally got a little overzealous there when she finally launched it, and I got hit by the Unstoppable, but that's okay. So you can start focusing on one thing too heavily, another thing sneaks up on you. And there's the Unstoppable. I caught it that time. And I got my... I'm looking at... I'd really like to bait that S2 before I do an S2 myself. However, she is being really stubborn on these specials today. And there we go. So I'm up to S3 now, but that's fine. So now my new plan is launch this S3, get these permanent force field charges, then get back up to an S2, which at this point, if I'm able to get to an S2 fairly decently, then that should most likely end or really close to end the fight, because he can do some serious damage. If you're curious on Guardian, I do have a 4-minute tutorial on him, a tutorial on how to use him. I've also got a video showing him doing 1,000,000 damage on an S2 when ramped up. So it takes a little ramp up to get there, but this dude has pretty much limitless damage when ramped up. If you're a little bit of patience, if you want to get into those, million, 7-figure damage categories, definitely takes a little bit of patience. But he can do very good damage rather easily. He's quickly become one of my favorite champs for sure. And again, Quake does not want to launch her special. She is just being stubborn. So there's that S2, and I was talking about some ridiculous damage even through the Unstoppable right there. And down goes Quake. So just get up those force fields, launch that S2, and yeah, the night. Here on up now we got... see a Juggernaut, who does Unstoppable then with the Unstoppable nodes as well. We'll have to remember that. And let's use a little bit of Warlock, because hey, why not? And there is regenerations things going on, so I'm sure he can help out when the regeneration kicks in. Although I just got completely smacked when I was trying to intercept. He intercepted my intercept attempt, it looks like, but oh well. So the regeneration is going on, but I got him infected with Warlock, so don't have to worry about regeneration, making Warlock a really good fit actually for these nodes. Now we don't have to worry about all the other silly shenanigans going on from the regeneration. And we see with those Furies going up was getting some nice damage going on. And especially on those S2s right there, look at that, just smacking him around, and down goes the Jugs. So yeah, Warlock looks like it could be a pretty dang good fit for these paths right here with these nodes. Moving on next to the all-effective Cyclops. So I'm taking a look. I want to use that, a little bit of fun with Warlock last fight. So let's go ahead and use Warlock again. These days I bounce two of my most used techs by far are Warlock and Juggernaut. I always kind of argue with myself which one I'm going to use. Of course, certain matches might have an advantage over the others, such as regeneration, such as this. But then again, Guardian's S2 is so insane when built up, it eliminates any regeneration ability to begin with based on how much damage it does. If they're regenerating, but there's hundreds of thousands of damage going on, yeah, regeneration doesn't make that much of a difference. But then again, with Warlock's good old-fashioned infections, that eliminates all that as well. So both are pretty fun. Both are looking really good for these nodes right now. And we see another easy fight on the Cyclops. Knocking it down so far. Been rolling through this path fairly effortlessly. I wouldn't say effortlessly, but I would say fairly clean. Haven't lost any champs, which is always nice. The more options I have with the boss in case I get caught off guard. If I know who the boss is, like Sentinel, I ain't too worried. On new champs, like a couple new champs in the later chapters, I never know what's going on with those. I never practice or usually even look at the nodes or anything. So if I have a few extra champs on some of the new defenders, that's always a good thing. I'm looking here, I'm looking at the healing, the Indomitable, can't be reversed healing, Infectious Wrath, Engineering Fracture. So bottom line, you know what? I don't care about all those nodes because you know what? Wasp is metal. But I could make it easy, but I kind of want to save my Magneto for the boss. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and bring in Gilly 99. I kind of argued myself out at the very end. I want to make sure I had a good full Magneto in case any mistakes happen, because I don't have the best backup plan for Sentinel if I made a mistake with Magneto beforehand. So let's go ahead and use Gilly 99 here, give her a little bit more fun. I did not end her first fight in an S3, unfortunately, which made it to where I'm not ramped up here, but that's not the end of the world. So she won't be doing anything too crazy right now, but I did activate the guaranteed crit on hit number 20, pre-fight ability for her. Otherwise, she does not crit without that pre-fight ability, which makes her a great counter a lot. Again, did a video with her gameplay I recommend watching if you're curious. I made some silly mistake there, some bad game playing on my side, and I did one little mistake, just got ugly quick, got a little too over cocky on that one, was getting ready to finish Wasp cleanly, and one little mistake got ugly quick. So I was bringing Hulkbuster to finish up the last little bit on Wasp. Learn from my silly mistakes. I'm lying, I never learn from my silly mistakes. I always do stupid things like that, but it ain't a big deal. As long as I got extra champs available, I try not to get too over the top per fight. I don't aim for perfection, I aim for getting the job done. And that is what we're going to do, is get it done. Getting ready to get to this boss fight on 1.2 for this February 2021 event quest. And this is why I got my Magneto right here. So I'm looking at the Shock Tether, Shock Brilliantly, Fight or Flight, so there's the Unstoppable, Stage Fright, and I'm looking at all this stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I got Magneto. I don't care. But and I also see Hurt Locker. Well, that one I do care about, using the same special twice in a row. But then again, if I charge up Magneto correctly, it's unlikely I'll need to use the same special twice in a row, even with larger health pools, because Magneto, it does what Magneto does, and that is destroy pretty much most champs in the game, but specifically Metal. A lot of people mistakenly think he's only good against Metal. If you believe that, I have many videos on my channel that you could look at that would prove that theory very, very wrong. However, against Metal is just beyond OP. It's just almost a cheat code in the game. So as we see me keep smacking to below the belt on Sentinel, not too nice, a lot of cheap shots there, but that's what Sentinel gets for being so dang tall, I guess. Here we go, here we go. So I'm just kind of building up. I'm trying to get to bait that S1, is what my goal was. I prefer baiting the S1 over S2. Not that S2 is that bad. I'm just not a big fan of ranged attack evades, different time, and it's easier to kind of throw off the timing a little bit on the ranged ones. So here what I'm trying to do is get up to S3, charge prowess. I'm up to 37 prowess right now. And took a first one there. Okay. And Let's just end this fight. Why am I playing around with this silly fool? Let's go ahead and end it. So I got my prowess up, and good night. And that's why I bring Magneto for these fights. No brainer there. Anyway, so nice, clean, easy boss fight. Even a low level Magneto will probably destroy that. I'm hoping this helped. Don't forget I got Chapter 2 and Chapter 3 for this month's event quest as well in Cavalier mode. Completion item free. And remember, I do these every single month. If this was helpful, don't forget to subscribe. I got the icon on the top left. Click on that. Subscribe. Don't forget to like the video. Share it if you find it helpful. Again, thanks so much for watching. Mcoc, AlBundyRules.